Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, great Biafrans, depending on where you are watching me from. This is Star News TV Biafra 1. Today, I want to be discussing and enlightening our people on the reason why I said Nnamdi Kanu is fully in support of what Simon Ekpa is doing, and the true Biafrans are fully in support of what Simon Ekpa is doing. I'm going to play this video for you all to watch. This video was an interview granted Nnamdi Kanu by Simon Ekpa, and they discussed certain pertinent matters. And from that discussion, we are going to expunge, we are going to bring out, we are going to take out this information and use it to enlighten our people. Now, here, Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa were discussing and deliberating on the roadmap to achieving freedom. The roadmap to achieving freedom. Now, let's listen to them.
Now, when you look at some of the international laws on statehood, like you mentioned about that UN have all these laws and all that. Of course, they are not paying attention. So I just want to read some of the things that to simplify the actions of the United Nations that must shape the international laws of statehood. Man, those
Listen to what Simon Ekpa just said now. He wants to buttress and educate people on the international laws of statehood. Now, what does this mean? International laws of statehood are those laws, things that need to be put in place, the features that need to be present before you can say you want to be free, you want to own a state, you want to own a country. These are international laws of statehood. So, does Biafra meet up with these laws? Let us listen to Simon Ekpa.
things that shape the international law for statehood. For example, the Biafra state. If at a point as this thing is going now, Biafra declared state is this. The resolution passed by the General Assembly, the decision of the International Court of Justice, the law recording codification effort of International Law Commission, and the decision by the member to enter treaty, recognize or not recognize purported state. Now, there are in addition to this, there are three traditional criteria that could make indigenous people, to be regarded or to have a statehood. Because all these things I'm saying now is something that Biafra overqualified, like Biafra people overqualified.
Now, the three most important criteria for statehood, Simon Ekpa has mentioned that Biafra overqualified to have a statehood. Now, he is going to explain these three criteria. Listen carefully.
The three traditional criteria is population, territory, and government. And then in defining or giving...
Did you hear him? He said population, territory, and government. Now we have the population, we have the territory, and now Simon Ekpa has instituted and activated the Biafra government in exile. And this is why some people will be saying Biafra government in exile is a waste of money. This is this is that. And we are telling you that these are roadmaps. These are things that need to be put in place for Biafra to be actualized. And some people think what Simon Ekpa is doing is wrong. These are things that needs to be put in place. One, population. We have the population, a defined population, not nomads, people who move around. No, these are people who are indigenous to that territory. Now, you look at the population, one. Two, you look at the territory. Do you have a defined territory? It mustn't be that defined, but you could be able to say that from this place to this place is the territory of the country you're looking at for. The third thing is that you should have a government, a functional government. And this is why Simon Ekpa has activated the Biafra government in exile, and you have the headquarters in the United States. You have liaison office in Finland already active. You have liaison office in Australia already active. You have one at South Africa already active. And so many other places that will be coming up. These are things that need to be put in place, and this government can now begin to produce passport and issue passport. And that is why you have seen Simon Ekpa showing you, unveiling what the passport will look like. These are things that need to be put in place, and when they begin to discuss with government and other international bodies, they have the authority, to discuss certain things. Let's continue to listen to them.
Or meaning to all this, the three most basic and least controversial criteria of statehood come from Article 1. Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention of 1933. Now, although the treaty itself has never been officially adopted outside of the Americas, of course, we know what when it comes to international politics and international laws, Article 1 remains highly influential and is generally considered a reflection of most fundamental criteria of statehood. Talking about Biafra now, if what is going on, who knows anytime this year, who knows anytime next year, who knows anytime before 2023, if something happened that every nation in Nigeria begin to declare the statehood. Just for clarity. Now, the population. The first fundamental criterion is a permanent population. Simply put, the population of a potential state cannot be entirely composed of nomads or travelers based elsewhere. And now we are talking about the Fulanis. So you cannot, Fulani cannot have a statehood because they fall under nomad, and or they are regarded as the travelers or they're based elsewhere. They cannot be regarded as population. And that is happening in Nigeria. This is in law. That is happening in Nigeria. Fulani is claiming Nigeria where other people understood what international law says and chased them away. They come to Nigeria where Gary and the Apple and the Ewedu and the Gusi has declared the sense of reasoning of the people who call themselves politicians. And they cannot know their left and right. And now Fulani has come to understand that the people that are in the front line of politics from the southern Nigeria are all Mumu, and they are using that Mumuness against every other Nigeria, which goes to what you have said, that these people are endangering your life and the life of other people while they continue to remain in Nigeria and the lands are controlled. Now, that is for population. Number two, the territory. The second is defined territory. The borders do not need to be fully defined or undisputed. There just needs to be an identifiable location. And this is where I give it to you, and I doff my cap because a lot of people have come to attack you about bring your map. Bring your map. In international law, like I said, the Montevideo Convention, anybody can go and check it out. You have what is defined as territory. You don't need to have a map, before as you are agitating for your freedom, you do not need to present your map to anybody.
For those of you asking what Simon Ekpa has done and what has he achieved, Nnamdi Kanu never had an organized map. He understands that though the Montevideo Convention allows you, to fight for your freedom where the map is not fully organized. And that was what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu done. But today, Simon Ekpa has pushed forward. Simon Ekpa has created a workable map. Simon Ekpa has created a workable map that we all can see. A map that we all can see. And he consulted the locals, consulted the international Biafrans, and put together the map, and we have an active map now. So those of you asking what Simon Ekpa has done, begin to listen to these things. These are discussions between him and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If you love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and you are watching this, you should now repent from your sins, repent from your evil ways, and support Simon Ekpa.
At the point where we are now, the question shouldn't be where is your map. So some people are actually misleading a lot of people into putting more effort and emphasis on what is map. But rather, the law says there just needs to be an identifiable location. And you have done this in several of your broadcasts, mentioning where you think Biafra should start from and where it should end. That's exactly in conformity with what this law says. Then another thing is number three is government. I'm not asking you a question. I'm just backing up with what you said. The third is an effective independent government with the capacity to enter into relation with other states. This is the trickiest of the three elaborated. Of course, this you have also done very perfectly and excellently well. For those who are looking for what is, how the Biafra government is going to be and all that, you have actually set an example, you have actually set a bit, and actually form two parts in this Montevideo Convention, but essentially require states to have structured, legally independent administration that control at least some of its claimed territory and population. Some additional points to note are the state does not have to have actual diplomatic relations. It could be under diplomatic boycott. It just needs to have capacity to have them. I believe, with what is going on now in Nigeria, we are going to come to this point of this Montevideo, Montevideo Convention. It may be invoked as time goes on because, when you so, and I believe that other part of Nigeria will also, without even knowing it, adopt this Montevideo Convention. Now, having said this, the Nigeria we see today, the Nigeria we see today, and the federal government of the Nigeria are backing terrorists openly, without even hiding it. They are backing the terrorists openly, supporting them, romancing with them, having meeting with them, and not only that they are supporting them, the Sultan of Sokoto, who they regard as the traditional ruler of Nigeria, he is the chairman of board of trustee of Mayete Allah. Of course, Mayete Allah has come publicly to take responsibility of the terrorist attack against southern Nigeria. Now, in addition to this, the person that is parading himself as the president in Nigeria is a board member of this terrorist group that have been ranked number 4 deadliest terrorist group in the world. People are not paying attention to this. And when they are killing people, the Minister of Information, who happened to fall into a territory that was conquered in a Kwara state, now come to say, we are not going to treat terrorists the same way we will treat those who want to get their freedom from Nigeria. That is the most absurd thing I have ever had in my life. I know you have addressed this particular comment coming from the liar Mohammed, from Kwara State. But please, can you, in a different, just from a different perspective, can you tell us how would somebody who say he's a Nigerian, especially from the eastern part of Nigeria, and you call yourself a politician, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a governor, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a House of Assembly member, you go to your state and all this, and then you hear somebody saying that those who have made you not to travel by road to Abuja, those who made you not to travel by road to Enugu, those who made you not to travel by road to Owerri, with all your fine vehicle and all your cars, they are not to be proscribed. Rather, the people who say you should have your freedom are being proscribed. In Nigeria, where you actually have state judiciary, that you can actually go and approach the state judiciary and order them to de-proscribe IPU. For the statement coming from that Minister of Information requires opposite reaction. Now, what do you have to tell our people who think this way, that after that statement, nobody has actually come out to say anything? At least I have not read. I have not read anybody.
They will not come because they've been conquered. We are all slaves of the Fulani without knowing it. Not us anyway, maybe not IPOB, but the rest of the zoo. And I must thank you very much for the depth and for the depth of your research in terms of the Montevideo Convention. Montevideo is in Uruguay, for those who do not know. The reason why I never responded to those half-baked intellectuals that keep talking rubbish about because they don't know anything.
Now, I want us to listen carefully. Did you see how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu aligned with Mazi Simon Ekpa? Do we all see how he is in support of everything Simon Ekpa has said? Do we all see how these two persons are reasoning together and with a common purpose and goal? Do you now see how he praised Simon Ekpa for the depth of his analysis and research? Do not fight who God has placed to fight for you and defend you, all in the name of envy and jealousy, all in the name of you want to get something, Nzama, you want to get something from every little thing. You begin to fight someone who God has ordained and placed for you in a time like this to fight and liberate your nation, to fight and gain freedom for you. Do not fight such a man. Look at the way they are reasoning together. Look at the way their reasoning is in line with whatever both of them have in mind. And the whole thing that they have talked about, Simon Ekpa has worked on it. So many persons did not reason to go and dig out this video and see, the presentation made by Simon Ekpa and the acknowledgement of that presentation by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is where Simon Ekpa is working towards. The agreement he has with Nnamdi Kanu. You could see that we already have the population, a defined territory, which Simon Ekpa has come to make it even more defined by creating a map. Then the government that will take over as a shadow government in exile, and Simon Ekpa has, established that. What is remaining is meeting upon meeting with different governments, and he has started that. He has started writing, and they have started inviting him for explanation and to buttress his points. This is the time we need to focus more and follow Simon Ekpa, defend him, and push him to get to that level where we need to get our freedom. Why are people becoming, Agadabachuruzo, becoming evil, becoming the devil himself against their own freedom? This is what beats imagination. Someone is fighting for you, and you cannot see it that this person is fighting for you. All you need to do is to support Simon Ekpa financially anytime he calls for fundraising. Support Simon Ekpa by sharing. Support Simon Ekpa in any way you can support him. Stop. Stop the blackmail. Stop the blackmail. If you do not like him, do your own thing. Allow him do his own thing. Allow him do his own thing. And that was why I was so very much annoyed during the election period, because Simon Ekpa has put so many things in place to activate so many quarters of the Liberation Force. And they fought him. Nigerian government was fighting him, even invited the Finnish ambassador to Nigeria. Our people who claim to want freedom also fought him, wrote petitions against him. If that this man was not highly placed internationally, they would have, destroyed him and sent him back to Nigeria. But because the gods of Biafra are with him, the gods of the land are with him, and he stood on the path of righteousness, and he was able to defeat the Nigerian government and all the Biafran saboteurs who fought him effortlessly, fought him tirelessly to ensure that he fails. Tomorrow, the same people will come out and say, his calm down failed, his calm down failed. But you are the one fighting him. You fought him to make sure that he doesn't succeed. The same thing you did to Nnamdi Kanu some years back. Nnamdi Kanu declared a particular day for referendum, and he moved towards it, and you all fought him to the last. Nnamdi Kanu again came out to say that 2023 there will be no election, that we are going to have our freedom. You all fought him tirelessly, and today he is incarcerated. Today he is incarcerated. I do not know what the Biafran people want. I do not know what some Biafrans want. Focus and fight for your freedom with your brother. Stop, stop, stop attacking your brother.
I am a student of contemporary politics. I actually read politics at the university in London. So when I hear some fools who are not educated talk about things that are above their station, I feel sorry for them. All of the indices you mentioned are very relevant. But I think the last one you alluded to is the most important. The United States of America, where I am today, went ahead to gladly recognize Kosovo as an independent nation. And today Kosovo stands as an independent nation. It is your willpower, your determination to fight for what you believe in. Had our war gone on for 6 more months, at the time it ended in January of 1970, we would have been a free people today. Because the world was waiting to see how determined we are. The reason why sometimes our people tend to not to understand the dynamics of international politics because they are not well read, they are not well traveled. When we say it, it's arrogant. No, we're not being arrogant. It's just that we happen to be educated and we know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're pursuing and we know how to get it. Yeah, having taken into consideration all the mitigating factors against the emergence of Biafra, our approach has therefore to be unorthodox. If you adopt the orthodox approach to state creation, they will ask you, why don't you go to the village? You know, that's I got the checkpoint. We have a Janja weed is waiting for you to come. Once you come there, they follow you up. That is the issue of Nigeria for you. There is something that our people will need to understand. How many people are there in Liechtenstein? I think there are about 150,000 people or less. And Liechtenstein is a separate nation state in Europe. Nobody is complaining. Nobody is saying that they are too small, they cannot participate in what is happening within that very place. Our people need to understand this and understand it very well. That our march towards freedom is multifaceted. The approach we adopt is multifaceted. We approach it from different angles and dimensions to deliver one result, which is freedom. And in so doing, since the world has come and basically washed their hands of Africa to say, do whatever you can to survive, we are going to do what we can to make sure that we survive. If I understand our situation very, very clearly, is that our people need to remain very, very strong and resilient. Very strong and resilient. A white man have always defeated black people with one thing: mental strength and resilience. When they were trying to go to the moon, the rockets blew up. The scientists at NASA, most people died in the process of trying to place a man in orbit. But it didn't stop them. They were not deterred. They continued. Where you have superstition, you replace it with practical things. And that is what we have done and will continue to do until we arrive. We understand all the internal dynamics of how a zoo functions. In the case of Nigeria, we know it very well. But one thing our enemy did was to underestimate us, which is a very good thing. I love the way they underestimated our resolve, our resilience, our determination, our intellect, our knowledge, our know-how. I love it. That is why we are where we are today. If you're thinking or hoping that one day you will wake up and things will be better in Nigeria, then you're the worst fool alive. Things can never be better. They have structured the system in such a way that if you were having 12 hours of electricity last year, this year you only get about 6. Despite all the so-called investments, despite all the money they have pumped into each and every supposedly viable sector that is not viable. When I talk about the issues concerning Nigeria as a whole, what I'm doing now is to approach your question from a very holistic perspective. When you look at the issue of Nigeria and how hopeless it is, you don't need to go any further than the only thing that you produce naturally without any sweat on effort is crude oil and gas. Even that crude oil and gas, they cannot refine into petrol despite the presence of 4 state-of-the-art refineries. Instead, they gave license to Fulani man to come build his own special refinery. That means that all of us are slaves already without knowing it. Until we realize, until the Oduduwa wake up one morning to say that the best way we can defeat these people is by the East and the West being together. The Yoruba and the Igbo, so to speak, Biafra and Oduduwa must be together in order to defeat it. Because Fulani people, they have one thing that we do not have. They have a godfather who is a member, who is one of the 5 permanent members at the United Nations Security Council in this case. UK will never love you. They will respect you, but they will never love you. The only people they are interested in are the Fulani Jacob within the north. So Fulani has an advantage already. Therefore, the only way for us to counter it is through our resilience, our stubbornness, our determination, our never say die attitude, and our ability to work with our closest neighbors in this case to do one thing, to stand strong and to say enough is enough. If we allow what is happening today to continue to happen, I'm afraid we'll be having these discussions, and what we're saying is the number of people who have been killed, where the barrels are taking place, because only us talk about it. No major media in the world. You don't have $30 billion. That's what the Fulani have. Over $30 billion to lobby, to make sure that CNN doesn't do anything about your plight, to make sure that the BBC doesn't. And on top of this $30 billion war chest is their own jailhood that they do lobbying on their account. And on top of that, you have Britain. Our work is not helping. But I do believe very strongly, and without any provocation, that we are going to triumph and prevail in the end. Because the God we serve is the Almighty God in heaven and not man. And if these words are to come true, which has gone across the ages, then Biafra is coming and nothing is going to stop.